nice being in this
in
this room. I might have to like do some like vlog roll shots and like film around it
to show that it's not all this picture perfect.
It actually looks like somewhere Ted Bundy might take people. Is it good to be back in the UK / Europe?
Yeah, it's always great to be here. Yeah,
I know you're fond of Europe.
I am.
You're thinking of moving back out?
Yeah. I mean, rumors of my moving back are exaggerated, but yeah, no. I mean, I'm not particularly, happy with the political climate in my country right now, and it's not like I ever have been. I just think it's worse than it has been in a long time, and more apparent. And like I was talking about this just the other day, and I don't know if you guys care about knowing this or not, but I was just talking about this the other day with a friend of mine, and if you had told me 10 years ago that everyone in 10 years was going to know that all of the the politicians were corrupt, not even like just think they knew about it, because everyone has always pretty much known the politicians are corrupt, especially in the United States, but have actual evidence for it, have evidence that financial institutions of all varieties have completely robbed us blind, and had, not just like a couple little tiny pieces of evidence, but like blatant, obvious, like, I'm not talking about some people knowing it, I'm talking about the whole country knowing it. If you could have told me 10 years ago that the whole country would know that, and that nothing at all would be done about it, then I probably, I'm cynical, so I probably would have said yes, that doesn't surprise me. But also, in a lot of ways, it really, really, really surprises me, because I always kind of thought that that when things got this bad, that we would do something about it, and that when it got this obvious, that people would do something about it, and nobody seems to really care. I mean, everyone's frustrated about it, and everyone is talking about it, but nobody's doing anything at all, and so it's really, really frustrating. And I didn't think that it would get so bad so quickly, and I thought that they would probably take small steps, like as they have done in the past, but they've gotten so bold. It's just they don't care at all, and they control all media assets with the exception of indie media outlets. Yeah, and they just can do whatever the fuck they want to, and they've always been able to do whatever they want to, but they used to be able to have to kind of pretend, and I find it to be absolutely incredible that they don't have to pretend anymore, and that nobody cares still.
I mean, there's a lot of similarities with that kind of thing, like in the UK as well.
I know.
And it just seems like everyone's really outspoken about it, but completely apathetic at the same time.
No one wants to do anything.
I know it's bullshit, but what can I do, kind of thing. And
well, I think that being apathetic is one thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's easy to be apathetic when you're comfortable, but people are losing their homes in record numbers, and people aren't comfortable anymore. Like, there's this guy that I used to know, and he's not really a great person, but he said to me one time, he said, there will never be a revolution in the Western world, the United States specifically, until people can make $20 an hour at a factory job and not be able to feed their family. And it's gotten to that point, they can't have their homes anymore, and there aren't even those jobs anymore. It's the unemployment rate is just absolutely astounding, and they, there's still nothing.
No one's stopping.
So it's funny to me that when that person used to say that to me, I used to go, yeah, that's true, and and now I'm like, well, that was wrong. No, it's not gonna. It's just I think conditions are gonna have to get so bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just so bad. We're gonna let them get so bad before anything is done. The point where maybe it's possible that really there's not anything that could be done.
Yeah.
I'm starting to believe. I used to believe in the power of the human spirit to prevail against insurmountable odds, and I've stopped sort of believing that. I'm starting to believe that the power of the human spirit is mostly the power to do your best to stay comfortable even if you can't. You know, like it's like self-preservation is such that like people are willing to accept it just because they don't want to ruin their comfort factor. The few things that they have now, it's like people don't want even the tiniest things that they have, which are not much. You know, like they're not willing to give those up even. You know what I mean? Because you know they don't want, you know, like because they don't want to rock the boat, and they just keep on hoping that it'll get better, hoping and
hoping someone else will do something about it.
So did you like being away from the US then? So is it just going on tour or relief?
Going on tour anywhere is a relief. I mean, luckily, like what I do keeps me very distracted, and I'm thankful for that. It makes me not think about how terrible things are as much. And you know, it's hard not to think about those things. Luckily, my life is very exciting, so I'm able to kind of be distracted. And in that respect, I'm also a bastard as well. I'm not really doing anything because I'm just out on the road and trying to survive myself. You know what I mean? So
it does give you a platform to talk about things like that, though, and maybe get it out to people.
Somewhat. The problem is that I'm not very eloquent. I'm really a lot better at poking fun at myself for being fat. You know what I mean? And talking about Star Trek and Battlestar Galactica and, you know, Lord of the Rings than I am about anything else. I mean, my politics are one thing. Unfortunately, I'm not very gifted at speaking about them or conveying any kind of a message to another person, unless you're talking about in song or something like that. Like I can write something about that because I have time to think about it, sit down and really place my words. But I get really lost when I'm trying to have a conversation about things, partially because I get so frustrated, and I'm one of those people that I pretty much say exactly what comes onto the top of my brain every single time. You know, like I just say whatever, you know, and I kind of hope that it'll be insightful or it'll be funny, you know, or correct. And a lot of the time it's not, and it's not just that I say whatever's on my mind, but then all these thoughts start coming in, like, you know, when all the synapses start firing, then you have trouble with me, because then I have too many things that I want to get out, and then I end up getting getting waylaid, you know, like in little, you know, I don't know, what's the word, banal minutia or whatever, like these little tiny facets of it, you know. I think in order to be really successful at talking about these important types of things, you have to be very adept at being clear and being very direct and to the point when you're trying to talk to people, because people don't want to hear about a million things about it. They want a catchphrase or a slogan to get behind, like something to say, like, this is what we're doing and this is why we're doing it, which is why it's so easy for, you know, the media to just like turn them completely around and make them think that it's something else that's the problem.
That's like,
you know,
concept of politics, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
That slogan.
They have the
like
best.
The Obama one.
Well,
time for change.
Yeah, time for change.
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
We've got like David Cameron, the big society thing.
Those I don't know if you've seen them last me. There's some billboards around. There's definitely some in Birmingham we've seen. I thought I saw something that's like, stop having children in big purple letters, and it's like basically outlining what the big society is, what David Cameron's basically saying, and like sort of anti-government, for another party, for another. But it's just, you look up and you're like, what? Hang on, stop having children, and then you read on and it's like
shows like depending on how you spin the slogan, be seen in a negative light as well as positive.
So you're only doing 3 dates on this tour?
Yeah.
3 UK dates.
Yeah, that's right.
So the reason for that is...
Yeah, the Willie Nelson tour. Willie Nelson's country throwdown that I'm getting ready to go on. That was a painful sort of severing of dates, you know, because, I mean, it's really bittersweet because I'm really excited to go out on tour with Willie Nelson. Yeah, I mean, there's like obviously that eclipses whatever sore spot there is. You know, you don't get that kind of an opportunity, but you know, maybe once in your life. So, and especially, you know, he's very old. I mean, he's been doing it for so long, and he continues to be a road dog, and I imagine that he'll probably continue to do so for, you know, the duration of his life. But you know, when you get to be that age, I mean, you know, I could croak fucking tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so when you get to be that age, it's like the likelihood, the probability level is like, you know, is there. So I have the utmost confidence that he's probably going to be performing for decades to come. You know, but I mean, he does lead a pretty laid back lifestyle. He smokes that weed. You know, people who have low stress levels, I think they tend to live longer, and I think that it's very possible that he'll be around for a very, very long time. But you know, the opportunity really to like perform on the same bill, and not only to perform on the same bill, but to tour on the same bill with somebody of his, you know, status and, you know, like his, you know, I mean, he is a living fucking legend. I mean, he wrote Crazy. Patsy Cline sang that. I mean, you know, like, think about that. Like, you know, that he has had such a long and wonderful career, you know, like, and he has been there for all these amazing, like, you know, milestones in country and rock music. I mean, he is like one of the most important figures of music of the last 100 years. You know, like, and he, you know, so I, you know, getting asked to do that, I mean, immediately, you know, my booking agent called me actually, and he was like, hey, like, what are your European dates again? And, you know, it actually kind of annoyed me really badly because I told him like 4 times, you know, like the exact dates of when I was going to be gone, and he kept asking me. He called me that time, and he was like, what are your European dates again? And I told him, and he was like, yeah, you're going to have to cancel some of those dates. And I was like, why? And he's like, you're going on tour with Willie Nelson. And I was like, yeah, you're right. You know, and immediately,
schoolboy moment.
Yeah, no. And so it really, on one hand, it was, you know, amazing, you know, because I'm just have this huge opportunity, and then also on the other hand, I'll be at a smaller hand, but a very important hand, you know, like, you know, folks in Sweden and also obviously in the northern part of Britain and Spain and Italy. I mean, they were really disappointed, and I appreciate that. I'm so happy that I have fans in all those places, and I feel bad that, like, you know, Germany, you know, like in the southern part of the UK, like they always get, like, you know, they always get me, like Finland, for example. Like I'm playing one show in Finland and flying back because I just cannot imagine coming over to this continent and not going to Finland. You know, that's my favorite place in the whole world to play, especially, and I'm filled with my favorite people. I love the people in the UK. The UK is amazing. Germany is amazing. Austria, you know, Czech Republic. I obviously have like a long history with the Czech Republic, and you know, there's like, you know, I have amazing friends in Sweden, and you know, like I love those places, but you know, like sometimes you have to prioritize like with the little bit of time you have, and you know, since my booking agent is German, it was hard to not do the German dates, but I was able to wrangle the Finnish show and you know, all that stuff. So.
When you talk about Willie Nelson, that me and you were coming on the train for, kind of awful. He's gonna know Willie fucking Nelson. That's crazy.
Maybe. I mean, I may not even really get a chance to talk to him very much. You know, I'm sure I'll get to shake his hand or something like that. But you know,
it's gonna be a big.
Like you say though, he's kind of chilled out. Maybe, you know, maybe we could bro or something.
I'm worried that he's gonna try and get me to smoke weed with him. You know, like all my friends, like my friend Cootie from Ninja Gun, you know the band Ninja Gun.
Yeah.
Like when I told Cootie about it, he was like, listen, man, like, you don't smoke weed with Willie Nelson, I'm going to fucking kill you. You know, and I'm just like, yeah, I can see, you know, like I know I don't have to do it, but that shit makes me freak out. I've been smoking weed pretty much when I was like, you know, 19 or 20 years old for a reason, because it just like it fucks with my brain chemistry.
Same with me, yeah.
I'm gonna smoke weed with Willie. His fucking pigtails are gonna turn into goddamn snakes. I don't know. You know, but what'll happen is I'll just not know what the fuck to say. I'll say something absolutely ridiculous, you know, and then I'll be really embarrassed, and then I won't want to show my face around it anymore.
He's still gonna be our friends, even if like you become best mates with Willie Nelson.
Still be your guys?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what do you cut? I mean,
I think we need an interview like Willie Nelson.
I will.
I'll just be like, at the end of that film, Beer Fest, they say that they're going to do a pot fest. Do you know anything about it?
Yeah, are you attached to that project? Anything been confirmed?
I'm really looking forward to it.
You said about like not playing like the Northern Point game. You're never going to play Manchester. You're going to make us travel every time.
Well, I mean that's not
You're
true.
gonna go further away,
I go to Sunderland and I go up to to Scotland and stuff like
Just
that.
go on, just avoid it.
Well, I gotta be honest with you. I
Like-
gotta be honest with you. Like I've never really gotten. I mean, you guys aside from you guys coming from Manchester, I've never really gotten a lot of response from Manchester.
We should change that.
Yeah.
Start a campaign.
Get the word out.
We'll set those billboards, the ones that have got the stop having children on. We're just like, right, Austin, because someone's going to check it out, aren't they?
Renegade vandalism.
Let's see if it works now. Yeah.
That was close. It was quite
alright.
good.
Man's fly off.
You're touring with Digger Barnes this time around.
Yeah, that's right.
His name's probably going to be pretty familiar to a few people out there. But for those who don't know who he is and what was it that kind of made you want to take Digger?
I've known Digger for years. The reason that Chuck knows him is because of me.
Right.
He was actually my bass player first.
And he stole
Chuck literally stole Digger Barnes from me. Yeah, that was, I met Digger in Leipzig, 2006. We both played a festival called Zorro Fest in Leipzig, and we had this mutual friend named Scaba who is from, she's from Texas and Minnesota, and she was good friends with Digger, and she's a big country fan. And she lives in Leipzig, and so she was always telling, I think, both of us that we needed to become friends and play shows together. And we finally got to in 2006, and ever since then we just became buddies. You know what I mean? Like we just and we did some dates together in Europe, and then we became really good friends. And he wanted to come to the States and do a tour in the States. And I was like, well, would you like to be my bass player? I mean, you won't be able to play your songs, but at least you can come and, and because he's a really great bass player, as a lot of people know. So we ended up doing it. We went on tour. He was part of my band, The Pressmen, and we ended up we were doing Bristle Ridge in the middle of that tour, and which is the collaboration with Chuck Reagan and John Gaunt and my dad, Digger, myself, and we, basically Digger was the lucky one with the band because, we needed an upright player. And so we just, we drafted him in. We were like, all right, Digger, you're going to be our upright player. And so he ended up meeting Chuck because we did Bristle Ridge and, stole him, right? Just
fucking stole him.
Well, here's the fucking thing about that is that Chuck Reagan makes money when he goes on tour. So he can afford, to have the other musicians and stuff like that. And I mean, I'm getting better, and I'm starting to have a band really soon. And and I have had bands before when I've been on tour. You guys just saw me with my sister, but the first time I ever played in Leeds, I had a bass player and a fiddle player.
Right.
Yeah. So I have been known to take people out on tour. But Chuck could pay Digger much more than I could pay him and pay his plane tickets, etc. So it just made sense for him to go and do that. And I think that he was really happy to have that opportunity, and he learned a lot. A lot of the things he really wanted to do with music, things he didn't want to do, etc. So, I'm glad for Digger that I was able to give him that.
Digger is real name?
No, his real name is Kai Buchaim.
That's still pretty rad as well.
It's a good name. Digger Barnes is a character on Dallas.
Right.
And
I remember searching it and it's coming up like
I've never seen it.
Yeah, no, he the reason that he got that name was he's like from the crust punk scene originally, like I am, and he's kind of over it, and whereas like I still like am kind of active in it. But Digger started this band kind of at the end of the days of his band Yennegar that he was in, which is on Skald Records, which is like a really big German crust label. And he started this joke band called Butch Meyer, and like Butch Meyer was this like crazy big, anti-fascist guy. And really, I haven't met him, but apparently just a really amazing guy. He's a martial arts instructor, and he wanted to start a country band, and so they started a country band together. And it's like they had like they grilled out like vegan sausages, and they had like a mustard spray gun. It was like the guar of country music or something like that. Yeah. So I guess Butch Meyer was like handing out stage names to everybody, and he gave Digger the name Digger Barnes. And when Digger started doing, his solo stuff, he just kept the name because people were familiar with it because of Butch Meyer. So yeah, and it just kind of stuck. And it's funny. It's like, I mean, I know his name's Kai Buchheim, and like I've been friends with him, now for 5 years, and I still barely ever call him Kai. It's always Digger. I didn't even know his name wasn't Digger until like I'd known him for a year or something like that.
Yeah, that's not my name.
No, I mean, I assumed that it was a stage name. It's just, I never really asked,
You're telling from friends and buddies, as it were. You feel like, Chuck Story bass player, and there's that Frank Turner, John Snodgrass on the buddies, and you went in there.
No,
Digger was though.
Yeah, no, Digger was. No, they mostly just included people who were on that that particular tour, and I mean they included Ben Nichols. I mean, I'm the low man on the totem pole of the revival.
Something to piss him off. Yeah.
I think you should fight him.
like Frank Turner,
like a tour joke, and like he just didn't find it funny.
No, I don't think I ever pissed off
Frank.
Frank. I one time told him that I hated Prague when he was talking about how he loved it.
Oh yeah.
And of course I was just like, well, I lived there for like years, so like I just I love it. Like I was mostly just kidding, And like I like to make like really bold, broad statements, you know what I mean? Like that I don't necessarily think anyway. And in some ways, like I do hate Prague, because if you live someplace for long enough, it's like that's the place that I've lived for the longest, aside from my hometown of Bloomington, Indiana. And I lived in San Francisco, I lived in Oakland and San Jose, I lived in Gainesville, Florida, I've lived in Dayton, Ohio. I lived a lot of places, and but Prague, like I lived for 5 years. I was in Prague. That was my home base, and literally, that's the longest of anywhere other than my hometown. So if I can say that I hate my hometown, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't until recently when I moved back to Bloomington that I really felt like my hometown wasn't Prague. I mean, other than the fact that it's stupid. It's just silly that like my hometown, which is Bloomington, but like people would ask me where I felt like my home was, and even though I didn't live in Prague, a lot of the time I would say Prague, because it was the place where I spent like half of my 20s, and I hadn't really found like I hadn't grown any roots anywhere since then. So maybe Portland was close to it, because I kept coming back to Portland, and San Francisco, the Bay Area, Oakland and San Jose and San Francisco, I lived all those places, so when I go there it also kind of feels like home. But even though I've lived in the Bay Area like a total of like maybe 2 years, over the years, it's still so spread out that it never really felt like my place the way that Prague did. I mean, Prague, like I had the bar that I went to, you know what I mean? Like where it's like where everybody
cheers, definitely.
And like and I had the club that I played at, and that I went to like sometimes 6 days a week. The 007 in Prague is one of the coolest places in the world, and my favorite places to go see a band. And I think that if I could choose any venue to see a band, like I would choose that, no matter like what band it was. And not that it's like the best venue in the world, in that like it doesn't have the best PA, but it does have great sound. It really does. It's like a basement club, and the PA is like perfect. The size, it's just perfect for the size, and the sound man there, Kuja, he really knows what he's doing with that room. He's been working there forever. He's a great sound man. But I would even love to see Willie Nelson. You know what I mean? Like I would love to see pretty much anybody in that club, because that club I've seen, everything from like Baroness and High on Fire, like all the way to like Q and Not You, and crusty bands, as well. Like I saw Extinction of Mankind there. I saw Discharge play there. I've seen like so many shows in that place, and I've seen a lot of those bands in other clubs, and none of them sounded as good as they did in that club.
You've got a full band now, well, on the new record.
On the new record, yeah.
Have you considered changing the kind of name of whole musical thing. Now it's a full band. You could change it from like Austin Lucas to maybe a Bold Party Experience.
The Bold Party Experience.
We spoke to John
Snodgrass
last
night. Actually, you know what? That's not a bad name. I was actually thinking about, because I do have to think of a band name, and I kept going back to like, would I change it, or would I just like go with the Pressmen again? Because it used to be Austin Lucas and the Pressmen, and maybe I should have it be Austin Lucas and the Bold Party.
Yeah.
That's not a bad name, actually.
It's
I
quite
think
good,
it kind of
yeah.
sounds good. Do you actually think it sounds good? 'Cause
Yeah,
I do.
yeah,
I think it
yeah,
sounds
yeah.
kind of good.
Yeah. So, you know.
So when you do that,
Yeah.
first album you do under that name,
Yeah.
we want credit.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Actually, I think I'll have to give John
Yeah,
Snodgrass.
it's like
Yeah,
Snodgrass,
yeah.
and then like me and him, like
It could be in brackets.
in brackets. Yeah. So is it? Oh, hang on, that's one here. Have you had good feedback from the album? On all?
Well, you gave it a very good
I
review.
did.
Even though you said I could turn a phrase like David Lee Roth.
Oh right, I was going to bring this up. This is the thing. I'm going to explain this to you. 'Cause
Well,
you
you did kind of briefly explain it to
It was
me.
the Henry Rollins. I was listening to Henry Rollins. I was writing it. And he was like talking about David Lee Roth, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And then like you read it back, like I read it back a week later. I was like, it doesn't make sense.
No, David Lee Roth, maybe in Henry Rollins' mind and some people's minds are really was a clever lyricist. I don't think that's
I
what people
wasn't
think
going
about
going
when
on
they
about
think
his
about
lyrics. I was more going on about like his stage banter.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
but you know, it's it made sense to me in my head anyway. If I could send back to
I mostly know him for being able to be like do a lot of blow and being able to do those crazy kicks.
Well, that's what I know you for.
That's like the two
I am
kind of
very
go
flexible.
together.
That's true.
If you do that much blow, you can just do kicks like that.
Dude, seriously. Have you guys ever read The Dirt, the Motley Crue biography?
No, I really want to though. I've been like recommended it 1,000 times.
Yeah, it's really
Never
great.
around
There's
it.
this part that Nikki Sixx, I think, is talking about, and he's like talking about how like Motley Crue, they're not signed yet, and they're like in their shitty like band house that they lived in that was like rat infested and like partied out, just fucked, right? And Nikki Sixx and David Lee Roth are like doing blow in Nikki Sixx's bedroom, and like David Lee Roth's like sitting there with like this like all this blow, and he's like doling out lines or whatever, and this mirror behind him just slipped and fell and crashed on David Lee Roth's head, and I guess he didn't like he didn't even like spill any of his blow, like he was like and just kept doing it and just proceeded, and like I can't remember if that's exactly how the story went because it's been a while since I read that book, but like as I remember it, that's what pretty much happened. And they were just like, and I think Nikki Sixx was just like, that guy is like the only guy I know that could sustain massive bodily injury and not lose a flake of cocaine, you know?
It's amazing. You talked about like the full band thing. What was it that caused this? Was there anything specific that caused this change? Like, so you think, hey, I'll put a full band right now.
Oh, I mean, I think that I had been toying with it, or the idea had been there. People had asked me when I was going to go rock, and you know, for years. And then I did that tour with Two Cow Garage, and they were backing me up, and it really made me, it gave me the confidence, you know, and like made me bold enough to feel like I can do that, you know, like because I wasn't really sure how it was going to go, and like when we decided we'd go on tour together, and we were like, yeah, you know, like they were like, we'll back you up for some songs, and I was like, oh yeah, that sounds cool, and I was like, I don't know how this is going to be, like this could be really disastrous, and I thought it was quite the opposite, and it was really fun for me. I know that some people that saw us didn't really like it very much. They wanted me to just, you know, plunk, 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 la 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 la, you know.
I love that one.
Yeah, that's like that's my hit. You know, that's where I made all my millions.
That's why Willie Nelson wanted you.
Exactly.
Yeah. He had that track.
Yeah.
Shit.
But yeah, no, it that was where the seed really was placed, and that's when it started growing into a plant, you know, and then you know. I just
No, it's just
that it's the heater or whatever. But yeah.
So is the plan now to like do a full band tour then?
Yeah, and this tour was supposed to be a full band tour, but when the Willie Nelson thing happened, I realized that like
Just easier to.
Yeah, and so I have to fly back to the Willie Nelson tour, you know, so it really just made more sense. Plus, I really didn't want to get on that tour having just played 3 weeks with the band,
Yeah.
and like and be used to hearing my songs from the like band way. Like I wanted to be like really rehearsed as like me by myself, so I could just get there and know what I was doing, because it's a really big opportunity for me. Like, oh, I mean, you know, not just aside from like being able to play with Willie Nelson, which is all that I really, you know, can count on from that, is that I'll be able to like, you know, have that experience. And but you know, there's obviously like a lot of other opportunities and things that could potentially happen there, and I wanted to be the best that I possibly could be in the scenario that I was going to be in, which is solo.
To be any possible mix up for that you drive at the what you know.
It's going to be
perfect. But I see more of acoustic versions of your songs.
Yes. Yeah. No, actually, there's a karaoke machine. I'm not even gonna play guitar. I'm gonna do
just do Willie Nelson.
I'm gonna do half my new songs, and then the other half's gonna be Bryan Adams' songs.
I love that. Descendant show we saw the other day.
I wouldn't even be disappointed by that. I'd be just like, this is entertaining, you know. It's not what I expected.
Did you hear about that, Austin? The Descendants played in London.
Yeah.
Milo Blues was
Yeah, I did.
And everyone got pissed off, but we loved it.
Yeah,
It was great. We were totally into it. It was really funny. I mean,
I think everyone was into
for.
it, and then they came out and was like, I'm so disappointed.
Really?
Yeah.
It was fun.
But you looked at me in the crowd and you're like, I know these people. They were singing along.
Yeah.
You know, they're not disappointed.
Well, I mean, at least they got to see those songs, you know. Yeah. I was really lucky the other, like, when I was on tour with Drag the River, we played in Tulsa with Stephen Egerton and with his band, and I was really wasted, and like, you know, they were playing, and he was having like Snodgrass and Chad come up and sing songs with him and stuff like that, and like John got off the stage and I was drunk, I was really drunk, and I was like, do you think that you could ask him if I could sing Hope? And John was like, yeah, buddy. Yeah, we can make that happen, buddy. And I was like,
the best impression
no, you know, because like I didn't really mean it. I mean, I did, but you know, like I didn't think it would happen. So when he got up on stage and like grabbed Stefan, it was like, hey, I still wants to sing Hope. You think you can do that? Now, you know, and like
That's the amazing John Snodgrass impression.
I spent a lot of time with the guy. Yeah, but so immediately I just like pushed up on stage and I sang Hope and I sang Bikeage.
Oh,
it was awesome. So it was like me and John sang Hope together,
Yeah.
and then me and Chad and my sister Chloe sang Bikeage together. But I was in the middle. So I was like, to me, I was like the only one
You
on
were like
stage.
the fucking rock star.
Yeah. And I was singing I was singing like the verses,
Yeah.
you know, like and so like, and everyone was coming in on the choruses. So I like totally like twisting the mic, you know, like, and it was really funny too, because like, you know, he'd been playing for a while. And like some of the people had like gone away to like go get drinks at the bar or whatever. And as soon as like he started going into Hope, the whole like bar like pushed into the like back, and there's like a circle pit. People were like pointing. And I was like singing. And, at least that's how I remember it. It was amazing. I mean, literally, like you have no idea how I've been listening to the Descendants since I was 12. You know, like I'm 32. That's 20 years, and I'm like on stage, you know, like singing, you know, with one of the members and a member of All, you know, like, and, you know, John Snodgrass from Armchair Martian. Like, I mean, that's a big fucking deal.
Definitely. Right, we've got one final question now.
Super serious question.
Very serious question now. New album's out. It's out there, people can buy it, it's making money. What percentage of your new album's profits would you put in to commission a truck rigging fishing show?
A truck rigging fishing show?
Yeah. We pitched this the other day. Dicking Around Productions and whatever Jeff Rickley's Thursday, whatever production company's called. Yeah. He wants to do a truck rigging fishing show.
Jeff Rickley does?
Yeah.
Really?
He said to me, it's his dream to make a truck rigging fishing show.
Have you met Jeff?
Yeah.
How's he doing? I haven't seen him in years.
He's been
really good.
Yeah, I haven't seen him since like 2002 or something like that.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
And he wants to do a truck rigging fishing show, so we're trying to get this commission. We need some money to make the first episode, which is pretty much Chuck building a boat and then catch a shark. That's the plan. So,
well, if I had any money coming in from the release, then I would definitely put a percentage of the. Okay, let's just put it like this. Let's do a hypothetical because like I don't.
This is on record.
Exactly. This is hypothetical. If I had $1 million coming in from my profits, I would donate at least $250,000 into the production of that show. I would. Because I think it would be a great. Yeah, exactly. It's just good publicity for me. That was actually the only reason I do the soundtrack.
yeah. No, so yeah, that's going to be on Discovery Channel very soon.
Keep your eyes out for it.
Yeah.
7 p.m. on Thursdays.
Oh yeah, that was the kind of that wasn't the final question. I had a question that's not written down. On the
Oh,
notes,
alright.
but there's a lot of stuff like I was talking about punk news, like joking before. But there's a lot of hate on punk news. Lots of love, but lots of love.
There's a lot of hate for everybody.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
every time someone writes an article about young punk news, there's always some kind of pig joke, and there's always that guy, that one guy. I saw your response to him. I thought it was really funny.
Which one?
The guy that always goes on about that one show where you were ill, and you're like, yeah, that guy, fucking guy.
yeah.
Have they reviewed the new album?
Punk News, yeah, it's up on Punk News.
Is
It's a
it
really really good review. I mean, yeah, mostly like the reviews are really good. The user rating is slightly less. You know, there's like several people who don't like it. There's like a guy, of course, there's the guy who says that I look like Liz Pig, who of course inevitably always says something about me looking like Liz Pig, which is from Junior Con Racing.
Yeah.
It's the villain. Which I do agree. And actually, I've been talking about for this Halloween because that guy lives in Indianapolis, actually, which is really it's only an hour away from Bloomington. So I've been talking about doing a Halloween show in Indianapolis this year where I will dress like Liz Pig. And
can you fly us out so we can see that?
I can't afford it, but
Is it really?
yeah. I mean,
So we'll make the Chuck Reagan Fishing Show. We'll sell it and then we'll fly out.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good. No, there's always hate, and honestly, like, I'm pretty thick-skinned. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, if you see like my responses to that guy, like, I always make a better joke than whatever. I mean, I know that I'm like saying that you're not making a better joke, but really, like, if I didn't, then he would come back with something else. You know what I mean? Like I feel like every time he says something and then I say something clever back. And then he just is like, oh. And then he like shuts up until like, whenever. And you know what, like, his name's Super Ska Bro. And, I don't want to, I know that he is like in his late 20s or early 30s also. And anybody who's that old and still obsessed with fucking ska music, I mean, he does a festival called Super Ska Show also.
No, maybe he's like the guy that organizes that. He loves ska.
Maybe
he is the guy who organizes
Is it? Really?
No, he organizes Super Ska Show.
Oh, what it?
Yeah, so, I mean, but, hey, like, everyone has music that they love, and, like, I'm not trying to say that, like, ska music is bad, but I am. There's some of it's really, really good, but Slapstick was an amazing band. Oh my god, yeah, I saw them play. I saw them play a couple of times. But, yeah, No Comply. Yeah.
That's more like ska-core.
Yeah, I didn't like any of that stuff really so much. I did like Slapstick, but also, to be fair, like, I saw them when I was like 14, so it's like, and that's my point, you know what I mean? It's like when you're 14 or 15 or 16, like, and you're obsessed with ska, like, it's totally one thing. Like, when you, like, get to be, like, your late 20s and your 30s and, like, you're still obsessed with that, like, it's like
the big shows.
Yeah, well, it's like, I mean, I can understand. Madness is awesome.
Yeah.
Now that's like a totally different story.
That's real.
Yeah, that's a real band.
Ska,
no, they're just a real band.
Yeah,
like, I mean, it's like I still listen to like this. I mean, obviously, like I still listen to the Specials, and I like really love it. Like, and we were just talking about this when we were coming up. Me and Jimmy Hislop, from The Magnificent. Like, we were talking about how much we love like Desmond Decker and like and Jimmy Cliff and like and how like I was talking about like the first like the Robert Marley and the Wailers like before he was Bob with Peter Tosh and stuff, like how just like incredible that stuff was. And there's like there's really really great music out there, and they're really, but like if you're like fucking 30 and you like Goldfinger, I mean,
I used to love Goldfinger.
Used to being the
I
fucking
don't
key
listen to
word.
anymore.